Assalamu alaikum. This is the last lecture in part 2 of our Economics of Resources course directed to first year. Let's continue. Second topic related to the water resources. In the first part of our lecture, we will take the concept of water scarcity. Countries with water scarcity problems can be classified into three main groups. First group, water stressed group. They are countries that have water resources less than 1,700 cubic meters per capita. Second group of countries, chronic water scarcity. Chronic water scarcity, they are countries that have water resources less than 1,000 cubic meters per capita. In fact, 1,000 cubic meters per capita is called water poverty line, and Egypt can be considered as chronic water scarce country because water resources in Egypt are around 700 cubic meters per capita. And 60 years ago, the water resources per capita in Egypt was 2,000 cubic meters. Why water resources per capita in Egypt has declined over this period? Actually because we have a growing population and due to the polluting agriculture drainage. Third group of countries are called severe water scarcity. Severe water scarcity. They are countries that have less than 500 cubic meters per capita. So countries with water scarcity problems can be classified into three main groups: water-stressed countries, chronic water scarce countries, and severe water scarcity. Egypt can be considered as a chronic water scarce country. In fact, country with water scarcity should save its domestic water resources. It should adopt what we call it water saving strategy. How can the country save its domestic water resources? It has to import a water intensive product rather than producing it domestically. It has to import water intensive products rather than or instead of producing it domestically. We call this strategy virtual water. Virtual water. In fact, virtual water is a kind of water policy. With increasing population and increasing demand for food and drinking water, with a fixed supply of water, so we have increasing demand and fixed supply. Demand management policies should be introduced, should be adopted. Virtual water has been adopted as an alternative water resource. Again, with any country that is suffer from water scarcity problem, it should save its domestic water resources. It should adopt some water policies. What does water scarcity mean? It means that the country has fixed supply of water with increasing demand. Virtual water is considered as an alternative water resource. What does it mean? It is a water that is embodied in a product. Virtual water is a water that is embodied in the product, not in a real sense. It refers to the water needed for the production of the product. Again, virtual water is a water that is embodied in a product, not in a real sense, and refers to the water needed for the production of the product. Hence, to reduce water scarcity, we have to import food that consume more water instead of producing this kind of product domestically. In order to reduce water scarcity, we have to import products that consumes more water instead of producing this kind of products domestically. Now turning to the second part of our lecture and the concept of water quality. In this part, we will learn the definition of water quality, what's meant by water pollution, what are the main sources of water pollution, the types of water pollution, the current state of water quality and health in Egypt, and approaches for solution. Now let's start by defining what's meant by water quality. Water quality refers to the characteristics of water. Chemical, physical, biological characteristics of water. In fact, if we have any change in water quality, any deterioration or negative change in water quality, in such a way that have a harmful impact on living things or make water unsuitable for being used, in this case we have water pollution. So what's meant by water pollution? It is any change in water quality. This change could be chemical changes, if the water contains some heavy metals or dissolved substance. If this change is biological change, if water contains bacteria or viruses, or it could be physical changes in the color, taste, smell, and temperature of water in such a way that have harmful effect on living things or make water unsuitable for being used. In this case, we have water pollution. What are the main sources of water pollution? In fact, every sector inside the economy is responsible to a certain degree to the pollution, whether this sector is agriculture sector, industrial sector, domestic or household sector. In Egypt, the industrial sector had a major contribution to the pollution of water and soil because it is an important user of natural resources. Concerning the current state of water quality in Egypt, we can say that Egypt faces a rapidly increasing deterioration of its surface and groundwater. Egypt faces the problem of water pollution due to two major factors. First one, the increasing emission of heavily polluted domestic and industrial wastes into its waterways. Second, the excessive use of pesticides and fertilizers in the agriculture sector. In this case, we need government intervention in order to provide some approaches for solution. Government should enforce laws in order to maintain water resources. Attention to wastewater treatment should be given. This includes the reuse of treated wastewater for irrigation. Also, we have to ensure safe hiding of wastes in the deserts because it might threaten groundwater and health. We have to find some substitute for toxic pollutants. Also, we have to practice what we call it the 4 R's of resource use. What are the 4 R's of resource use? They are reduce resource waste, reduce air pollution, reduce poverty, and reduce birth rates. Those are the main approaches for getting solution for the increasing deterioration of our water resources. Let's review some questions. State whether the following statements are true or false. First, water transfer is an alternative water resource. This sentence is false because virtual water is considered an alternative water resource. Second, water-stressed country is one that has water resources less than 1,700 cubic meters per capita. Yes, this sentence is true. Third, Egypt is considered as a severe water-scarce country. This sentence is false because Egypt can be considered as a chronic water-scarce country. Number 4, virtual water policy is an opportunity for achieving food security. This sentence is true because virtual water, which refers to the water needed for the production of the product, it can reduce water scarcity by importing food that consume more water instead of producing it domestically. Thereby, it could be considered as opportunity for achieving food security. Number 5, for efficient use of water. Changing irrigation techniques to more advanced one? Yes. In order to achieve efficient use of water, we have to change irrigation techniques to more advanced one. This sentence is true. Finally, the benefit of water usage is maximized by cutting the imports of more water demand products. This sentence is false. In order to maximize the benefit of water use, we have to cutting the exports of more water demand products, not cutting the imports of more water demand products.